Hello, and welcome to my review of Course Correct after like 10 hours of playing. There's a lot of mixed reviews online, so I wanted to give what I think is a balanced view of the patch. Before we dive into it, I just want to address the clickbait title that I put on there. I'm sorry, negativity gets clicks. The big problem of this update, I feel like, is that people have not actually played it before they start complaining about it. Alright, so let's go over the big changes, and the one I think is the most contentious is the accuracy changes. Accuracy has been nerfed across the board. The devs state that late game mechs got way too crazy and never missed. I think this is commendable to try to fix. Personally, I don't really care so much what happens late game OP. Every game I've ever played has the late game problem where you can just stack so many bonuses that you get a little ridiculous. That's why I mainly love playing early to mid game in almost every game, not just Roguetech. There has been accuracy nerfs and it's harder, especially early game, to hit your shots. After playing, I think like 3 or 4 or 5 missions, I actually haven't noticed that much of a change. The devs said they did the math and there's really not that much of a huge jump in like lethality or any of that. So, and I kind of believe them after playing a couple matches. It really doesn't seem like things take all that much longer, or that like I can no longer hit the broadside of a barn. You can still get those 40s, those 50s, those 60s in those situations where you reduce the enemy's evasion and stuff like that. I do think it's a legitimate concern though of players that battles early game get elongated. Like real life time, it does take more time when you can no longer get those flanking shots. Specifically, we no longer get the accuracy bonus for flanking and back shots. And I kind of hope the devs maybe revisit that when the dust settles, because I understand that is not a tabletop mechanic, but as a video game, I think that's an engaging mechanic. I kind of like engaging with that mechanic of trying to get a back shot and maybe I'm putting myself in a worse position, but I'm getting a little bit more accuracy to like finish them off. To me, that's just like a fun thing to play with, and I'm kind of sad it's gone. But that is mainly the big accuracy changes that I saw. To me, after playing with it, my gut was like, oh my god, I can't believe they took it all away. Early game's going to be impossible. But after playing it, it's actually not that bad. Next change to talk about. LRMs and SRMs and LBXs for this part of the conversation. They are all now, you either hit everything or you hit nothing. It's like a per volley. Before they rolled dice per missile or per cluster shot. Again, gut reaction from me, it was like, oh my gosh, that was part of my early game strategy, was to take SRMs because there's like 3 dice rolls instead of just 1. But after playing with it, it's actually not that huge of a change because, yeah, your brain is remembering you missing the whole LRM volley, but it's not really remembering when you hit the whole LRM volley. So to me, it's actually kind of more exciting now because you either hit all of them or you hit none of them. And so now missiles seem more bursty. They're less like a chip damage weapon. LRMs and SRMs now do have variable damage. So you can do as little as 1 damage on your LRM or 5. SRMs are also 1 to 10, so they can get a huge burst or like a little. I think they were trying to nerf LRMs across the board. It's almost like that late game thing. Any Battletech game I've played, and I don't play the tabletop, LRMs are kind of a problem, right? Because it's such a strong strategy. Send in a light spotter, and then you can hide behind the mountain and just rain LRMs all day. So every game kind of deals with it differently. This is just Roguetech's attempt to make them not the end-all, be-all strategy. I think it's kind of a neutral change right now. And anything, I kind of like it, like I said, because it's a bit more exciting now that they all hit or they all miss. What's next? Through armor criticals have been changed. Across the board, the less armor you have, the higher chance you get a through armor critical. I think that's kind of a cool change. From what I understand, like the tabletop is very swingy. You can be like doing really well one round and then have really bad dice rolls and doing terrible the next. So I haven't really noticed this change too much early game, but I'm excited to go see it. You can see on all the weapons now, there's like a through armor crit chance, like the lasers aren't that high, but I have to imagine there's some specialist weapons that get higher and higher. So that's kind of a cool thing to go play with. Next is autocannons, and light autocannons have a rapid fire mode now. They can shoot twice, but there is a chance that it'll jam for the rest of the mission. I think this is just a positive change. It's just an extra option. That option didn't exist before, so cool. Machine guns. This is where it gets a little contentious again, because now, back in the day, you could choose, oh, I want to shoot 1 shot, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, and you could toggle between all 6. It was very granular. Now it is a single shot or it is a burst, and that part I actually don't mind too much. That's whatever. It's either more accurate single or a burst with less accurate but more shots to hit. The contentious part is that they reduced the range of the machine guns. I don't know what the issue was exactly before, but now it is weird that like machine guns are hailed as an anti-battle armor option, but to get close enough to use them, you have to get so close that you get swarmed if you don't kill them. So it is kind of strange that like the machine guns are supposed to kill battle armor really good, but then like you don't want to get too close because they can swarm you. Maybe they'll revisit that, maybe not. It's a neutral change in my opinion. Next is move speed got changed across the board. They're trying to reduce like the high end, I'm guessing like 10 plus move speed troops. And mainly they said this should affect the AI more than the player. So I imagine those like suicide rushing units have been slowed down a bit. For my starting lances, I haven't noticed that I'm like hamstrung. So this change it's not negative or positive for me again. Squads, battle armors, and protomechs have been nerfed across the board. I think the devs heard people saying they take way too long to kill. It is kind of silly, like when you're at the end of the mission and there's just like a unit of battle armor and they have like a 15% chance and you're like, can I just step on you? Like, why is it taking so long to kill you? Maybe this is something that can work on later. I just kind of wish there was like an ability to tell the game like, hey, I'm focusing 100% of my efforts just to kill these stupid things. Can I please get like a double chance to hit? But I'm not a coder. I don't know how that works. I will say though, when you do hit battle armor, it does seem like they die way faster now. So that is a cool part of the change. I do appreciate that. But yeah, when you're trying to hit them and you can't, that's the only part that's like, that was a problem before this update, so I can't really pin it on course correct. And the last big change that I have noticed is that the headshot chance, random chance, has gone from a 1 to a 2. I have caught a lot of random new injuries, but I think I am also headshotting the enemy randomly, and I just don't see it as often. So I think if anything, that makes the game a bit more difficult. I wouldn't say it's a bad change. It just makes the game more difficult. So all in all, I don't think this is the patch worth rolling back for. See a lot of people like, I'm not going forward. To me, I say go forward. There is, I forgot the cool new changes. There's a lot more faction starts, and there's a new, like, the Inheritor mech or the Lamb you can start with, or the Bushwhacker. There's a new Pirate one, and those are really thematic and cool. So I really like that. To me, that is worth the update, because I love just playing, like, it's almost like opening a pack of Pokemon cards. I love just starting new campaigns and seeing what I get and playing with all those. And there are a ton of new faction starts that you can play with. So that is worth it for me. I think if you like Roguetech before, you're probably not going to be too affected by it. I think the patch notes look scary. Playing, like I said, I played like, 4 or 5 missions. I don't feel that much of a difference. So I think it's worth updating. Quoted all this, and I forgot to mention the performance change. I have actually noticed that the battles are way snappier now. The AI does seem to not get hung up as often. So that's a great change. I think that's both in Battletech Advanced and Roguetech, and I can actually feel the difference. So that's cool. Thank you, devs, for doing all the work. I get so saddened when I see them defending their work in Reddit, especially for the people that's like, it's clear misinformation. It's clear they haven't played and they're just like shitting on what they did. And it's like, dude, these guys have spent hundreds of hours coding. They're not doing it for their job. They're doing it because they love it and they're sharing it out of the goodness of their heart. And for you to just come in and like shit on it without even trying it, that's what pisses me off. It's not the people that play and are negative and have good feedback. It's the people that just like bandwagon get on there like, this is a terrible change. I never intend to actually play it. I'm just complaining about it and running off. Like, man, for the dev that did all that work, it's gotta hurt. And so thank you, Cargo Vroom, Lady Electo, and Wolf Johnson or Jay Wolfson, one of those guys. I've seen you. Thank you for getting out there and defending it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my review. Go play it. I've got a Let's Play coming out hopefully tomorrow if you like that kind of thing. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about this.